I know. Today has been such a long day. And right now, even though your body is at rest, I understand that the racing thoughts in your mind simply refuse to stop. You are not alone in this dark night. We are here, together, seeking a moment of quiet peace amidst this noisy world. Tonight, I invite you to cast aside the burdens of reality and step into a profound spiritual journey, returning to the Gospel of John. This is not merely a religious narrative, but a classic remedy, a healing balm for the exhausted modern mind. We will allow the Word to soothe your anxieties and guide you into a deep, dreamless sleep. If you wish to rediscover this stillness with me every night, please press subscribe and leave a comment sharing what is weighing on your heart. However, please only return to subscribe if you truly feel that this video helps you find a restful sleep. Along with that, please share your time and location in the comments below. Perhaps someone else is there, sharing this very same moment with us. And now dim your screen and set your phone aside. Treat this as a sacred ritual to disconnect from the outside world. Take a deep breath in, exhale all your worries, and let your soul anchor itself to this promise of peace. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Imagine yourself lying on a soft, grassy hillside in the land of Judea, alongside King David from thousands of years ago. The night is late, and all creation has drifted into slumber. Only the wind remains, whispering through the canopy of ancient olive trees, while the sky above sparkles with countless stars. In those restless nights, when sleep seemed to evade him, David would often lift his eyes to the high heavens to seek comfort. He saw order, he saw greatness, and he saw a great shepherd guarding his soul. Tonight, we shall borrow those very eyes of David to look upon the opening lines of the Gospel of John not as dry text, but as a symphony that lulls the soul. We often lose sleep because our minds are in chaos. Fragmented thoughts and nameless anxieties collide, creating a noisy tangle within us. But listen closely. Before the chaos of this world, before the worries of today, there was an absolute divine order. The author John opens his epic with an affirmation powerful enough to anchor any drifting vessel. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word, Logos. To a weary mind, Logos is not merely speech. It is reason. It is order. It is the source of all peace. When you hear "in the beginning was the Word," let it remind you that this universe does not operate by chance. Your life is not a series of meaningless accidents. There is a grand idea, a loving plan established from eternity past. Just as David once exclaimed in the Psalms upon beholding the sky, "The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands." Peace begins when we realize we are small, and that there is one far greater who holds all things together. Release your effort to control the world tonight. Surrender that control to the Word, the one who has existed from the very beginning. And the most miraculous part of this prelude, the most potent sedative for the fear of the dark, lies in the verses that follow. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Take a deep breath and feel the weight of this truth. The darkness has not overcome it. Darkness cannot conquer light. Perhaps right now, you feel the darkness of loneliness, of financial pressure, or physical pain filling your bedroom. But the Gospel of John affirms an undeniable physical and spiritual truth. Darkness is simply the absence of light. It has no substance to win. The moment a tiny spark of the word appears, the darkness is forced to retreat. King David understood this better than anyone. In those nights spent fleeing from King Saul, lying in cold stone caves, he clung to this truth. He knew that no matter how dark the circumstances, God's lamp still burned within his soul. Tonight, let the light wrap around you. Visualize that light as a warm, soft blanket, pushing back every phantom of anxiety from your mind. You are safe within this circle of light. Nothing can harm you here. But how can we modern people with minds full of the noise of social media, work, and responsibilities hear the gentle voice of the Word? We need someone to prepare the way. We need preparation. And that is when John the Baptist enters our story. In this epic tableau, John the Baptist does not appear as an angry prophet, but as the first meditation guide. He stands in the wilderness, a place symbolizing silence, separation from the hustle of the world. Your mind tonight also needs such a wilderness, a quiet space to face yourself. The mission of John the Baptist is encapsulated in a cry echoing off the desert cliffs. I am the voice of one calling in the wilderness. Make straight the way of the Lord. Make straight the way. Our minds are often like rough, winding roads, filled with the potholes of past regrets and the boulders of future fears. John's call is an invitation to declutter the mind. Push those obstacles aside. Do not let circular thoughts lead you astray any longer. Create a straight path, a clear passage for God's peace to enter. Imagine John the Baptist standing at the gateway of your mind right now, gently but firmly stopping negative thoughts from intruding. He confirms his role very clearly. He is not the light. He is only a witness to the light. Likewise, your feelings of anxiety or restlessness are not your true nature. They are merely passing guests. Your true nature is the place where that light will dwell. When the Pharisees, representing the harsh judgment of society, or the critical voice inside your own head, came to ask John, "Who are you?" he refused all lofty titles. He teaches us a lesson in letting go of the ego. Insomnia often stems from our excessive attachment to the I. I must succeed. I am hurt. I am worried. John the Baptist invites us to take a step back, to become smaller, so that the Prince of Peace may become larger. He must become greater. I must become less. As you whisper this phrase, I must become less, you are unburdening yourself from the need to be the center of the universe. You no longer need to carry the whole world on your shoulders. Let that anxious I shrink, fading away like morning mist, so that the great presence of God may grow, filling the space around you. That is the state of absolute rest. King David, in his magnificent Psalms, also practiced this ritual of clearing the way many times. He confessed his sins. He poured out his anger. He wept. And finally, he lay still in trust. The prologue and the appearance of John the Baptist in this first act are the firmest foundation for a good night's sleep. It establishes an order. God is the Word, Logos, holding the universe, the light dispelling darkness, and we need only clear our hearts, making the path of our thoughts straight to receive rest. The space is now set. From the vast universe of the Word, we begin to narrow our vision, descending to the earth, stepping into a scene more ordinary, more intimate. The silence of the wilderness has done its work, settling the surface disturbances. Now, as the mind begins to soften, lessening its resistance, we are ready to witness the first miraculous transformation. A transformation that takes place not in the stars, but right within the humble stone jars of human life. We have just left the quiet wilderness with John the Baptist, and now, let your mind drift gently on the cool breeze of Galilee, landing in a small village named Cana. Imagine stepping into a completely different space, no longer the solitude of the desert, but the warmth of kinship, of laughter, and the pulse of everyday life. This is the place Jesus chose to perform his first sign, a wedding. Why a wedding? King David, in his days shepherding on green hills, once sang of God preparing a table before him in the presence of his enemies. For David, and for us tonight, the image of the banquet table is a symbol of safety, celebration, and connection. As you close your eyes, visualize the warm golden light from oil lamps casting shadows on ancient stone walls. The air is steeped in the scent of fresh baked bread and the faint fragrance of wildflowers. You are in a safe space, embraced by simple joy. But then, an incident occurs, a very ordinary incident, yet one carrying immense psychological weight. The wine has run out. When the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said to him, "They have no more wine." They have no more wine. That short sentence echoes like a sigh full of anxiety. Perhaps you are feeling the same way right now. After a long day fighting through work and invisible pressures, you feel you have run out of wine. Your energy is gone, your joy is drained, your patience is worn thin. You lie there, feeling empty and afraid that you do not have enough strength to face tomorrow. Scarcity is the greatest enemy of sleep. It whispers in your ear, "You are not good enough. You haven't finished your work. You are lacking." But look at how Mary reacts. She does not panic. She does not blame. She simply brings that lack before Jesus. And this is the first therapeutic lesson for tonight. Confess your weariness. Do not try to hide it. Tell God or tell your own soul, "I am tired. I have nothing left." Peace begins with honesty. At first, Jesus' answer seems distant. "Woman, why do you involve me? My hour has not yet come. My hour has not yet come." In the rush of this era, we always want everything resolved immediately. We want to sleep immediately. We want anxiety to vanish immediately. But God's rhythm is the rhythm of perfection, not haste. He reminds us that everything has its hour. There is a time to wake and a time to sleep. There is a time to worry, and now is the time to let go. His delay is not a denial, but a preparation for something more miraculous. And then, the most wonderful advice for a controlling mind falls from Mary's lips. Do whatever he tells you. Let this mantra echo in your head. Do whatever he tells you. That is surrender. That is the state of total relaxation. As you lie in bed, whatever he tells you right now is simply this: breathe. Close your eyes. Trust. You do not need to calculate solutions for tomorrow anymore. Hand over the control to him. Now, focus on the image of 6 large stone jars standing there. They are empty. Jesus tells the servants to fill them with water. Listen to this sound. the clear trickling sound of water. Imagine cool water from a deep well pouring into the dry stone jars. The water rises higher until it brims over. King David once felt this fullness in Psalm 23, a deep satisfaction no material thing can bring. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. My cup overflows. When the water jars are filled, that is when your soul is filled by a quiet presence. You do not need to create wine that is joy or strength by your own effort. You only need to be the stone jar standing still and receiving the cool water of grace. And the miracle happened. There was no thunder, no blinding halo. In the mysterious shadow of the stone jars, plain water quietly turned into fine wine. The transformation took place in silence. Sleep and healing come in the same way. You cannot see sleep coming. It comes when you stop observing, stop controlling. It comes in the gentle darkness, turning weariness into restoration. When the master of the banquet tasted this new wine, he exclaimed in astonishment, "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best till now. You have saved the best till now." This is a message specifically for you tonight. The world often offers its best at the beginning youth, the excitement of the morning, and leaves exhaustion and decay for the night. But with God, the rule is reversed. He saves the deepest peace, the sweetest rest for now, for this very moment at the end of the day. Do not fear the night. Do not fear the end of the day, for it is in this hour that the best wine of rest is served to you. God never leads you to a dead end. If you feel everything is going wrong, it means He is not finished yet. Believe that the best is still waiting for you in tonight's dreams. King David, despite enduring so many ups and downs and battles, still found good sleep in caves or palaces because he knew his shepherd always had the power to transform circumstances, from a dry wilderness to green pastures, from a cup of plain water to warm celebratory wine. Your mind is now like the stone jars at Cana. It is no longer empty. It is being filled with trust. The anxiety of scarcity has vanished, giving way to faith in abundant provision. You do not need to worry about tomorrow, for the one who can turn water into wine can also dissolve all your troubles by morning. Your only task now is to taste the sweet flavor of the rest. He has saved until now. This sense of safety spreads through your body, from the crown of your head down to your heels, soft and warm like new wine. Every muscle relaxes. Your breath becomes deeper and slower. We have witnessed His transforming power over matter. But that power does not stop there. It can transcend both space and time, touching physical pain and anxieties thousands of miles away. Take a deep breath. Hold the sweetness of the new wine from Cana in your chest and exhale. Now, let the wind carry us a little further. Leaving behind the festive atmosphere, we step into the deeper silences of human life. For life is not only weddings, it is also long sleepless nights beside a sickbed, or the anxieties for loved ones who are far beyond our reach. King David, the great warrior, also experienced nights like these. In Psalm 6, he cried out the prayer of one exhausted by illness and worry. "I am worn out from my groaning. All night long I flood my bed with weeping and drench my couch with tears." David understood the feeling of helplessness when the body refuses to obey and the mind is imprisoned in fear. If tonight you carry physical pain or a heart-wrenching worry for someone, this next story is a medicine prescribed just for you. We come to a powerful man, a royal official. He has wealth, he has status, but it all becomes meaningless as his son lies dying in Capernaum. He is in Cana, a long journey away from his child. Distance. That is what often kills our sleep. We lie here, but we worry about a problem at work, a child studying far away, or a future that has not yet arrived. We are afraid because we cannot be there to control the situation. This father was the same. He ran to find Jesus in total panic. "Sir, come down before my child dies." He thought Jesus had to be there in person, had to touch him for a miracle to happen. That is the limit of human thinking. We need physical presence to feel safe. But listen to Jesus' answer, an answer that defies all logic of space and time, yet contains ultimate liberation. Go, your son will live. Just simply that. Go, your son will live. No urgent journey accompanying him, no elaborate ritual, only a spoken word sent into the air. And this is the deciding moment for your sleep tonight. The man took Jesus at his word and departed. Took Jesus at his word. Imagine the 1,000-pound weight falling from that father's shoulders. He had not yet seen his son recover. He was still a day's journey away from the boy. But he found peace immediately, simply because he believed that word. Tonight, can you take Jesus at his word? Can you believe that the problem you are worrying about, even if it is far beyond your control, has already been resolved by him? You do not need to be there. His word has arrived there before you. The power of the word is not limited by the walls of your bedroom. Let go. Let his word work while you sleep. Go, sleep. Your problem will be solved. Now let your mind drift to Jerusalem, to the side of a pool called Bethesda. The scene here is gloomier, quieter, but also holds a fiercer hope. Surrounding the pool are 5 colonnades filled with the sick, the blind, the lame. They lie there waiting. They wait for the water to move. Legend said that when an angel stirred the water, the first one in would be healed. Look at a man who has lain there for 38 years. 38 years? An endless span of despair. Perhaps you also feel stuck in a situation for too long, chronic insomnia, an unending sadness, or a bad habit you cannot break. You lie there on your mat, watching others get healed, telling yourself, "It will probably never be my turn." Jesus walks up to that man. He does not ask for a medical history. He asks one question, which at first sounds redundant, but awakens the deepest will to live. Do you want to get well? Do you want to get well? Why would he ask that? Because sometimes we become too familiar with our pain. We embrace the old mat of anxiety like a close friend. Tonight, God is also asking you, do you truly want to let go of these worries to sleep well? Or do you still want to hold on to them? The invalid replies with a familiar excuse. "Sir, I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred." He blames circumstances, blames loneliness. I have no one. But the one standing before him needs no pool. He does not need external conditions to be perfect to grant peace. He looks straight into the man's eyes and commands, "Get up, pick up your mat and walk." Feel the power of these 3 verbs. Get up, pick up, walk. For your mind tonight, this command bears a sacred meaning. Get up. Let your soul rise from the swamp of pessimism. Pick up your mat. That mat, Once a symbol of helplessness, now you fold it up. Take control of your fear instead of letting it control you. You are stronger than you think. Walk. Step into freedom. And instantly, the man was cured. 38 years of waiting resolved in a single moment of meeting the Word. This teaches us it is never too late to find rest. It does not matter how many nights you have lost sleep or how many years you have been anxious. God's restoring power is always in the present tense, right now, right here. King David, in his most desperate moments, found the strength to rise up like that. He wrote in Psalm 40, "He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand." The feeling of setting your feet on solid rock after years of sinking in the mud is the very sense of security you need to drift into sleep. You're no longer flailing. You have a foothold. Imagine your body now being healed. The tension in your neck and shoulders is dissolving like mist. The aches and pains are soothed under the invisible hand of the shepherd. You do not need to wait for the water to stir, meaning waiting for everything in life to be perfect before you can sleep. No, God grants you peace right in the midst of the cluttered colonnades of Bethesda. His healing has pierced through space with the official's son, and through time with the invalid of 38 years. Space cannot hinder him. Time cannot erode his power, and therefore, nothing in your mind right now is too hard for him. Lie still on your soft bed, not a mat of suffering, but a place of rest God has given you. Let his question echo gently. Do you want to get well? And let your heart whisper, "Yes, Lord, I am ready to rest." The darkness around you is no longer cold. It bears the holy silence of the pool after the storm has passed. And in that stillness, we prepare to witness how he nourishes us, not only healing our pain, but filling the hunger of the soul with a miraculous bread. Let your shoulders drop a little more. We have journeyed through villages, past healing pools, and now, let me take you to a gentle slope beside the Sea of Galilee. It is late afternoon. The sun is slowly dipping behind the deep purple mountains in the distance, dyeing the entire sky a soft crimson. The evening breeze blows gently, carrying the cool moisture of the water. The Bible records a very precious detail, one that seems designed specifically for relaxation. There was plenty of grass in that place. Imagine yourself sitting down on that lush, soft carpet of green grass. The scent of the grass blends with the smell of the earth. This is the place King David dreamed of when he wrote the immortal verses of Psalm 23. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. That is the scene right now. But amidst the serenity of nature, human anxiety rises. There is a large crowd, and they are hungry, and the disciples, just like our own future-worrying minds, begin to calculate. Philip quickly tallies the wages, the cost of bread, and concludes in despair, "Not enough." Not enough, that is the phrase haunting our sleep every night. Not enough money, not enough time, not enough health, not enough ability. Scarcity makes us tense. Our muscles contract. We fear that tomorrow we will go hungry, that we will lack. But look at Jesus. He is not flustered by that scarcity. He takes the 5 loaves and 2 small fish, a ridiculously meager portion. But instead of complaining, he does something that changes everything. He gives thanks. Jesus then took the loaves, gave thanks, and distributed to those who were seated as much as they wanted. As much as they wanted. From scarcity, through thanksgiving, it turned into infinite abundance. This is the key for you to unlock the door to peace tonight. Look at what you have, however small a roof, a bed, a breath, and give thanks silently. Gratitude expands the capacity of the heart, turning the fear of lack into a feeling of fullness. Visualize yourself being invited by Jesus to a banquet on this grassy hill. You eat the bread of peace. You eat the fish of contentment. Your soul is satisfied. No more hunger, no more anxiety. And at the end of the meal, Jesus tells the disciples to gather the leftovers. Gather the pieces that are left over. Let nothing be wasted. This sentence is so gentle. He cherishes every crumb. This tells you nothing in your life is wasted. Your pain, your failures, or even these sleepless nights, God will gather them all up to use for a good purpose. You have lost nothing. You are being preserved wholly in His hands. But life is not only calm afternoons on grassy hills. Night falls, and the disciples must get into a boat to cross to the other side. And then the storm hits. Imagine you are on that boat. Darkness covers everything. The wind howls. The sea rages. This is the image of panic attacks or negative thoughts that crash in during the middle of the night at 3 or 4 a.m. You feel unsteady, lonely, and afraid. You row in desperation to find the shore of sleep, but the waves of anxiety keep pushing you further away. The disciples were terrified. They felt small before the power of nature, and in their deepest despair, they saw a figure walking on the water, coming toward them. Fear piled upon fear. They thought it was a ghost. A tired mind often invents monsters that are not real. But then, cutting through the roaring wind, a deep, authoritative voice rang out, silencing all chaos. "It is I. Don't be afraid." In the original language, this is Ego Eimi, I am. This is the title of the Almighty God. The one who created the seas is walking on the waves. He does not need a boat to cross the storm. He stands above the storm. Let this phrase anchor your soul right now. It is I. When the worry of debt crashes in, it is I. And when the fear of sickness rises, it is I. When the darkness of loneliness surrounds you, it is I. God's presence is greater than the storm. You do not need the storm to vanish immediately to find peace. You only need to know that God is there, right in the storm with you. King David understood this when he wrote in Psalm 29, "The voice of the Lord is over the waters. The God of glory thunders. The voice of God drowns out the sound of the waves." And the miracle happened the moment they invited him into the boat. Then they were willing to take him into the boat, and immediately the boat reached the shore where they were heading. Immediately. A bending of space and time. When the presence of peace, God Himself, is there, the struggle of the night suddenly ends. The boat docks safely. Tonight, invite Him into the boat of your mind. Stop trying to row alone. Let go of the oars. Say, "Lord, I invite you into my sleep," and believe that the moment you surrender your resistance, you will touch the shore of rest. The wind and waves outside may still roar, but inside the boat, inside your heart, there is absolute stillness, because the master of the wind and waves is sitting there. He does not sleep. He is awake to watch over your sleep. Now feel the rocking of the boat come to a stop. The sea is as smooth as a sheet of glass. The night sky clears, revealing thousands of stars reflecting on the lake. Your breath falls into rhythm with the gentle lapping of waves against the sand. Hush, hush. You have been filled with the bread of life. You have been rescued from the storm of fear. You are safe. This sense of safety seeps into every nerve cell, soothing your tense forehead, softening your tired eyes. You're drifting, drifting gently into the land of peaceful dreams, where God is the guide, and no darkness can lead you astray. For He is not only the bread, not only the one who walks on water, but He is also the light of the world, something we will contemplate deeply as we open our eyes in our minds to see a miracle of illumination. We have left the stormy waters of Galilee to return to the dusty, stone-paved streets of Jerusalem. The atmosphere here is thick with the breath of religion, of laws, and of prejudices. Imagine yourself walking slowly along that road. The sun is high, brilliant and glaring, but amidst this sea of light, there is a man sitting huddled in eternal darkness. He has been blind since birth. For him, day is the same as night. The world is merely a chaotic mix of sounds and invisible collisions. Perhaps during sleepless nights, you also feel like this man, lost in the darkness of the future, seeing no way out, and surrounded by the question, why? The disciples walking with Jesus, upon seeing him, asked a cruel question that our own minds often ask whenever we face difficulties. Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Who sinned? That is the burden of self-blame. When you cannot sleep, do you often torment yourself about past mistakes? Why did I do that? If only I had chosen differently. The voice of judgment is the enemy of sleep. It wants you to believe that your current suffering is a punishment. But listen to Jesus' liberating answer, a statement that severs every chain of guilt. Neither this man nor his parents sinned, but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. Take a deep breath and let this sentence sink into your core. Neither sinned. Your pain, your anxiety, or even your insomnia tonight is not a punishment. Stop blaming yourself. Jesus sees in this dark circumstance an opportunity for the works of God to be displayed. The darkness you are experiencing is merely a dark backdrop for His light to shine more brilliantly. And then He acts, not with a spoken word from afar like before, but with an act of profound touch. He spat on the ground, made some mud with a saliva, and put it on the man's eyes. Feel this detail. Earth. Mud. The most primal material God used to form humanity in Genesis. The sensation of cool, slightly gritty mud touching hot eyelids. It is a powerful, grounding therapy. When your mind is drifting with 1,000 fanciful thoughts, imagine the healing hand of God touching your tired eyes, reminding you of your origin. We belong to the earth, and we belong to Him. He told him, "Go, wash in the pool of Siloam." Go, wash. The blind man fumbled his way to the pool of Siloam. Listen to the gentle splashing of water, washing over his face, rinsing away the layer of mud, and rinsing away 1,000 years of darkness. When he opened his eyes for the first time in his life, light flooded in. The world appeared in full color, the blue of the sky, the gold of the sun, the mossy green of the stones, King David yearned for this spiritual sight so deeply in Psalm 27. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? When our eyes are open to see the true light, fear automatically vanishes. The blind man no longer fears stumbling, no longer fears getting lost. He has seen, but the story does not end in that peace. The noisy world outside begins to crash in. The Pharisees, representing social prejudices, dry logical arguments, and doubts, begin to interrogate him. How were you healed? Who is the one who healed you? Today is the Sabbath. Healing is forbidden. This is the image of our minds when we have just drifted off for a moment and anxious thoughts rush in to attack. They argue. They demand explanations. They do not allow us to peacefully enjoy simple joy. The noise of the conflict disturbs the silence, but learn from the reaction of the man who just received his sight. Surrounded by angry wise men, he clung to a single truth, an undeniable personal experience. Whether he is a sinner or not, I don't know. One thing I do know. I was blind, but now I see. One thing I do know. Tonight, when hundreds of anxious voices echo in your head, answer them with this mantra. One thing I do know. I don't know what interest rates will be tomorrow. I don't know if the project will succeed. I don't know what people think of me. I don't need to know those things. But one thing I do know. I am safe in God's hands. I was once worried, blind, but now I choose peace, seeing. The power of the phrase, I was blind but now I see, lies in its simplicity. Truth doesn't need to be complex. Peace does not need to be debated. You do not need to win the argument with your anxieties. You just need to ignore them and focus on the light you have just received. Finally, Jesus finds him again. When everyone had rejected him, cast him out of the synagogue, the Lord the Good Shepherd came looking for the outcast sheep. In the quiet darkness of this private meeting, Jesus asked him, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" And he replied, "Lord, I believe." And he worshiped him. The image of kneeling in worship is the most beautiful posture of the soul to enter sleep. It is the posture of completely letting go of the ego, humbly receiving protection. When you kneel in your mind, every burden on your shoulders will slide to the ground. Jesus declared, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." Never walk in darkness. This promise is a lighthouse for you tonight. Even if you turn off the lights, even if the room is pitch black, the lamp of life is burning brightly within your soul. Physical darkness cannot invade the territory of spiritual light. You are surrounded by a warm, gentle halo, pushing back all the coldness of loneliness and prejudice. The noisy arguments of the Pharisees have receded, leaving only the soft footsteps of God and the peaceful beating of your heart. The healing of the blind man was not just of physical eyes, but the enlightenment of the Spirit. He saw God, and because of that, he saw the meaning of his life. You too, through the lens of the Gospel of John tonight, are seeing more clearly that you are loved, accepted, and absolutely protected. And now, as light has pushed back the darkness, we are ready to face the greatest challenge, the most terrifying shadow of human existence, death. But with the word, even death is merely a long sleep awaiting a wake-up call. Together, we will walk to the tomb of Lazarus to witness the ultimate power of life. let the space around you settle down a little. We are leaving the noisy streets to go to a small village named Bethany. The atmosphere here is thick with deep sadness. Lazarus, the Lord's close friend, has died. He has lain in the cold stone tomb for 4 days. For many of us, those 4 days symbolize situations that have become hopeless. It could be a broken relationship, a missed opportunity, or a faith that has died young in the heart. You lie down in bed tonight with the heavy feeling that it is too late. Nothing can be saved now. But notice how Jesus speaks of this death, even when he was still far away. He does not use the word death with sorrow. He says, "Our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but I am going there to wake him up." Fallen asleep. Jesus redefines the most terrifying concept of humanity. To him, death is merely a sleep. And if death, the greatest enemy, is just a short nap, waiting for his call to wake up, then what meaning do your anxieties have tonight? They are merely bad dreams that will vanish when dawn comes. View your weariness as a necessary sleep for restoration, not as an end. When the Lord arrived, wailing echoed everywhere. Martha and Mary, the 2 sisters, both uttered the same regretful sentence. "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." If you had been here. That is the voice of regret. We often lose sleep because of the word if. If I had been more careful. If I hadn't said that. Regrets about the past are like heavy stones pressing on the chest, making it hard to breathe. But Jesus does not join them in looking at the past. He directs their eyes to an eternal reality with the most eloquent declaration in the entire Bible. "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die." Again, let this sentence echo in your mind like a ringing bell. I am the resurrection and the life. He does not say, "I bring resurrection," but "I am the resurrection." Life is not something he gives, but his very essence. When you invite him into your sleep tonight, you are inviting life to fill the dead spaces in your soul. Sadness will be resurrected into joy. Exhaustion will be resurrected into strength. And then a heart-shaking moment occurs. Standing before the tomb, seeing the pain of those he loved, the one who holds the power of the universe did not hold back his emotions. The Bible records the shortest verse, yet it contains the greatest comfort. Jesus wept. God wept. King David once wrote in Psalm 56, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle." David knew that God is not unfeeling. He cherishes every one of our tears. If you want to cry tonight, go ahead and cry. Do not hold back. Tears are the language of healing. Jesus is weeping with you. He understands the pain that no one else understands. His empathy softens our hardened hearts. You are not alone in this sadness. Now, we stand before the cave. A large stone blocks the entrance. That is the final barrier. It is doubt. It is fear. It is the defensive wall we build to protect ourselves from hurt. The Lord commands, "Take away the stone." Martha protests, "Lord, by this time there is a bad odor." We are afraid that if we open our hearts, if we face the dark corners within, we will find rotting, ugly things. But God is not afraid of those things. He wants light to shine into the very depths. Imagine the heavy stone in your chest being rolled away, the sound of stone grinding on earth, rumbling, then silence. A rush of fresh air floods in, and his voice rings out, tearing through the night of death. Lazarus, come out. It is not a whisper, it is the call of life. Lazarus, come out. Tonight, he is also calling your name. Not calling you out of sleep, but calling your soul to step out of the cave of anxiety, depression, and fear. My child, step out of those negative thoughts. My child, step out of the darkness of the past. And miraculously, the dead man walks out. His hands and feet are still wrapped in strips of linen, and a cloth is around his face. This image is powerful. Lazarus is alive, but he is still bound by the vestiges of death. We are the same. Sometimes we believe in God, but are still tightly wrapped by old habits and old fears. The Lord's final command in this Act 1 is an order of total liberation. Take off the grave clothes and let him go. Take off, let him go. Feel as if invisible hands are gently unraveling the layers of bandages tightening around your chest, removing the blindfold from your eyes. The tension vanishes. The shortness of breath vanishes. You are free. Completely free to breathe. Free to rest. Free to live. Death, the greatest darkness, has been defeated. If God can call a man dead for 4 days back to life, how easy is it for him to lull you into a peaceful sleep tonight? There is nothing left to fear. The stone has been rolled away. Light has flooded into the darkest place. King David, in his Song of Triumph, exclaimed, "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." The valley of the shadow of death is now just a shaded path leading you to green pastures. Act 1 has closed with the brilliant victory of life. The signs have completed their mission, proving that he is the one with power over all things, from matter, the body, and nature, to life and death. Your mind is now completely persuaded. There is no reason left to doubt or worry. Your body has gone limp, sinking deep into the soft mattress. Your breathing is steady and rhythmic, but the journey does not end here. From the noisy crowds and earth-shaking miracles, Jesus wants to take you to a deeper, more private place. A place not for the public, but only for close friends. That is the upper room, where whispers of love will be spoken before the deepest night falls. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, imagine we are closing the heavy wooden door to the outside world. The noise of the city streets, the fierce arguments of the Pharisees, and even the excitement of earth-shaking miracles, all are left behind that door. Now you are standing in a completely different space, the upper room. The light here is not glaring like the noon sun at the pool of Bethesda, but shimmering and mystical, cast by oil lamps hanging on the stone walls. Darkness and light interweave, creating a sense of warmth and protection. This is a space of absolute intimacy. King David, who lived in magnificent palaces but also hid in dark caves, understood the value of such a refuge very well. In Psalm 91, he called it the secret place of the Most High. Tonight, your bedroom is that upper room, a place set apart from the world for your soul to meet the one who loves you most. In that quiet space, as dinner is served, a strange and shocking act begins to unfold. Jesus, the one whom we just saw command the dead to rise with authority, now quietly stands up. He takes off his outer clothing. He got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. Observe this gesture closely. Took off his outer clothing. To enter a good sleep, This is the first step you must take. Not just taking off your dusty work clothes, but taking off the cloak of fame, the cloak of responsibility, the cloak of strength that you have worn all day to cope with life. Before God tonight, you do not need to be a director, an excellent employee, or a pillar supporting a family. You are just a naked soul in need of rest. Lay that armor down. Jesus pours water into a basin. The sound of trickling water in the silent night is soothing to the ear. He begins to wash the disciples' feet. Road dust, mud, calluses. The feet are the parts most in contact with the filth of the world. All day today, your mind has also walked through many rough roads of negative information, pressure, and unkind words. Your mind is stained with worldly dust, and it is that layer of dust that makes you itchy, uncomfortable, and tosses and turns in sleeplessness. When the Lord came to Peter, he pulled his feet back and protested, "No, you shall never wash my feet." Peter represents our proud ego. We often think, "I'm fine. I can take care of myself. I don't need anyone to serve me." Or sometimes it is inferiority. "I don't deserve peace. I made too many mistakes today." We resist rest because we think we haven't finished our tasks. But listen to the Lord's gentle but firm reply, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." Unless I wash you. This sentence contains a profound therapeutic truth. You cannot clean your own mind by trying to think more. You cannot force yourself to sleep by counting sheep in tension. You need an external power. You need to let God the great servant do that cleansing work for you. Sleep, in a sense, is the most humble act. It is when you admit, "Lord, I can do nothing more for the next 8 hours. I entrust this dirty body and mind to you to cleanse." Peter, after understanding, exclaimed, "Then, Lord, not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Resistance turns into total surrender. Imagine the cool water from the Lord's hands touching your tired feet. The cool sensation spreads, washing away the heaviness, washing away the unanswered calls, washing away the stressful emails, washing away the worries about bills. He takes the towel and dries their feet. The towel wrapped around his waist absorbs all their dirt into himself. King David yearned for this purification to the utmost. After his falls and sins, he did not seek a throne. He sought purity. His prayer in Psalm 51 now blends with the sound of the washing water. "Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity, and cleanse me from my sin. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Wash me thoroughly." As you lie in bed, let this prayer guide your breath. Inhale the purity of the Spirit and exhale all the dregs of negative emotions. Jesus says, "You are clean, though not every one of you." To those who trust him, he declares, "You are clean. You are clean." Don't let the voice of guilt bother you anymore. Today has ended. The mistakes of today have been washed away by the water of grace. You are allowed to step onto your soft bed with a clear conscience, like a child just bathed by their mother, clean and fragrant. After washing their feet, the Lord put his clothes back on and sat down. The atmosphere returned to a solemn yet affectionate state. He taught them a lesson in humility. "Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet." Why does this lesson help you sleep well? Because much of insomnia comes from comparing, competing, and wanting to be greater than others. Pride creates tension in the nerves. Humility softens the muscles. When you accept the position of a servant, or one served by God, you are no longer under pressure to win at life. You let go of the rat race, and there is a detail we cannot ignore. Jesus washed the feet of Judas, the one about to betray him. This is the pinnacle of tolerance. Even when your mind still clings to dark thoughts, or you feel you have betrayed your own commitments, like a failed diet, laziness, anger, God still kneels and washes your feet. His love precedes your repentance. This radical acceptance is the softest pillow for you to lay your head on. Tonight, in the upper room of the mind, there is no longer a distance between master and servant, between holy and common. There remains only the touch of love. Feel the relaxation spreading from your toes, up to your calves, knees, and thighs. Your feet, which have borne the weight of your body all day, are now light as air. They are floating in serenity. The feeling of cleanliness brings peace. The feeling of being served brings safety. And in that absolute stillness, as the body has been cleansed, we prepare to face the true darkness. A shadow is creeping up to leave the banquet table and walk into the night. Betrayal and the pain of separation are about to happen. But it is in that very context that God will give us a new commandment to protect our hearts from breaking. The heavy wooden door has just closed. A dry click echoes, dividing the space into two halves. Inside is the warm light of master-disciple love. Outside is the pitch-black night of Jerusalem. Judas Iscariot has gone. Let your mind linger in this moment for a while. In the room now, there is a stifling silence, the silence of sadness. Jesus, though the Son of God, was not immune to the pain of being turned against by those closest to him. The Bible records a very human, emotional state of his. After he had said this, Jesus was troubled in spirit. Troubled in spirit. Is your spirit also troubled as you lie there tonight? Perhaps someone has disappointed you. Perhaps a promise has been broken. Perhaps you feel misunderstood, abandoned. That stinging pain in your chest. Jesus understands it. He does not blame you for that emotion. He is feeling it with you. King David, in his long nights of solitude, also tasted this bitterness. He was not attacked by a stranger, but betrayed by a soulmate, one who sat at the same table. In Psalm 41, David wrote the tear-filled lines that Jesus quoted at this supper. Even my close friend, someone I trusted, one who shared my bread, has turned against me. Someone I trusted. The greatest pain often comes from the places we trust the most, and that pain often makes sleep a luxury. We toss and turn, rewinding memories, asking why, blaming ourselves. If only I hadn't trusted them. But look at how Jesus handled this betrayal. This is a wonderful therapeutic lesson for your heart. He knew exactly what Judas would do, but he did not scream. He did not expose him before everyone. He did not use power to stop him. He dipped a piece of bread, a gesture of honor and friendship in Jewish culture, and gave it to Judas. Even in the final moment, he still gave love. And when Judas decided to leave, Jesus said, "What you are about to do, do quickly." Habakkuk, this sentence is not a rush of anger, but an acceptance of letting go. Do quickly. Tonight, if the image of someone who hurt you or a painful event still lingers in your mind, learn to say to it, "Go, I release you." Do not hold that pain tight in your heart anymore. Do not try to analyze or fix it at midnight. Let it walk out the door of your soul. just as Judas walked out of the banquet room. The Bible writes a very short but chillingly symbolic sentence. As soon as Judas had taken the bread, he went out, and it was night. And it was night. Darkness belongs outside. When toxic elements, lies, and treachery leave your life, you might feel empty, a bit dark because of the void. But remember, Judas took the darkness away, leaving pure light remaining in the room. The departure of some people, or the loss of some things, is actually purification. The room of your mind is now safer. The atmosphere is lighter. As soon as the betrayer disappeared, Jesus' tone changed completely, from troubled to glorified. Now the Son of Man is glorified, and God is glorified in him. Why now? Because darkness has separated from light. When you let go of resentments, the glory of peace will shine within you. You do not need others to apologize for you to sleep well. You sleep well because you choose God's peace instead of human bitterness. To fill the void left by hurt, Jesus gives the disciples and you a new warm blanket. It is not a dry dogma, but a command of love. A new command I give you: love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. As I have loved you. Let this love wrap around you. God's love is not conditional love. If you are good, I will love you. It is the love that washes the feet of the betrayer. It is the love that accepts every flaw. When you feel lonely in the night, visualize this love as a stream of warmth embracing you. You are not alone. You are in a community of beloved souls. And then the Lord's eyes turned to Peter, the zealous but impulsive disciple. Peter declared boldly, "I will lay down my life for you." We often promise ourselves the same. Tomorrow I will be strong. I will never make a mistake again. We tense up to become perfect heroes. But Jesus, with a gaze that pierces the soul and is full of compassion, gently removes that pressure from Peter. Will you really lay down your life for me? Very truly, I tell you, before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. He knew Peter's failure beforehand. He knew Peter would deny him. But, and this is the most important thing, he still washed Peter's feet, still ate dinner with Peter, and still loved Peter. What does this mean for your sleep? It means you do not need to be perfect to be loved by God and granted a good night's sleep. You can be weak. You can be the one who broke promises today. You can be full of fears. God knows it all, and He is still there, loving you completely. This acceptance is the strongest sedative. You do not need to play the role of the strong one anymore. Take off the mask. Admit to God, "Lord, I am weak like Peter," and you will hear Him whisper, "I know, and I still love you. Go to sleep." Now the space in the upper room becomes stiller than ever. The remaining ones draw closer together. Safety has been reestablished after the shock. Judas has gone into the night, taking hypocrisy with him. Peter has been warned to learn the lesson of humility. And in the center, Jesus begins to speak the deepest words of confidence. These words are no longer short commands, but a flow of comfort, pouring out like a cool spring, soothing the fear of the coming separation. Imagine yourself leaning your head on Jesus' chest, just as the disciple John did at that supper. You hear his heartbeat, steady, peaceful, and he begins to speak of a home, of another comforter, and of the unbroken connection between the vine and the branches. let the space around you settle down completely. In the upper room, after Judas left and Peter received his warning, the air seemed thick with anxiety. The disciples looked at each other, bewildered. They felt like children about to be abandoned in the marketplace of life. The future was dim, separation was approaching, and right at that moment, Jesus spoke. His voice did not tremble. It was deep, warm, and steady like a great rock amidst a rushing stream. He began with a command, or rather, the greatest assurance for throbbing hearts. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God. Believe also in me. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Let this phrase flow into your mind like a warm stream. Troubled here describes the state of water being stirred up, muddy, no longer reflecting the sky. That is our state when we cannot sleep. Chaotic thoughts, anxieties about tomorrow making the mind cloudy. Jesus does not deny the difficult reality. He knows he is about to leave, but he offers a solution. Believe. Trust is the anchor that keeps the boat of the mind from drifting, no matter how great the waves. To soothe the fear of spiritual homelessness, the fear of being lost in the vast universe, Jesus paints a beautiful picture of the future. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? Many rooms. Close your eyes and visualize the Father's house. It is not a cramped, stuffy building. It is a vast open space where there is room for everyone and a place reserved specifically for you. King David, who spent his life fighting to expand his kingdom, finally realized that the safest place was not an earthly palace, but the house of the Lord. In Psalm 27, he uttered his one desire. One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. To dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. This feeling of belonging is the medicine for loneliness. Tonight, you are not lying in a rented room or an apartment under mortgage. Spiritually, you are lying in the dwelling that Jesus personally went ahead to prepare for you. Everything is ready. The pillows are soft, the blankets are warm. You are expected, you're welcomed. Curl up in that feeling of absolute safety. But human anxiety is often persistent. Thomas, with stark realism, asked on behalf of our hearts, Lord, we don't know where you are going, so how can we know the way? We often lose sleep because we do not know the way. What will tomorrow be like? Where will this decision lead? We want a detailed map. We want to control the route. Jesus does not give Thomas a map. He gives himself. I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. I am the way. This is a great liberation for the mind. You do not need to find the way anymore. You do not need to rack your brain for solutions anymore. He is the way. As long as you walk with him, you will reach the destination. When you go to sleep, practice handing over the steering wheel. Say, Lord, I don't know which way to go tomorrow, but I know you are the way. I follow you. And that is enough. Uncertainty is no longer terrifying when you have a trustworthy guide. However, God knows we still need a closer, more tangible presence when he returns to heaven. We fear the feeling of abandonment. Therefore, he promises a priceless gift. And I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to help you and be with you forever, the Spirit of truth. Another advocate. In Greek, this word is paraclete, one called to walk alongside. Imagine a close friend, always walking right by your shoulder, never leaving you for a step. And pay attention to the word spirit. In the original language, it also means breath, pneuma. Tonight, connect with the Comforter through your breath. Inhale, receiving the life of the Holy Spirit. Exhale, feeling Him in you and with you. Jesus affirms, I will not leave you as orphans, I will come to you. Not leave you as orphans. The greatest human loneliness is the feeling of being an orphan, the feeling of no one to shelter, no one to protect. But this promise has dispelled that fear. You have a Father, you have a home, and you have the Comforter right in your chest. You are never, never alone in the dark. Finally, Jesus leaves a legacy. Not gold or silver, not power, but the most precious thing the whole world is madly craving, but cannot buy. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Analyze this difference carefully. Peace as the world gives is peace when everything is favorable, when there is plenty of money, when health is good. It is a peace dependent on circumstances. It is very fragile. My peace is peace right in the midst of the storm. It is peace when facing death, as He is facing. It is a deep stillness that nothing can shake. He says, I give you. It is a gift. You do not need to work hard to earn this peace. You only need to reach out and receive it. Visualize God's peace as a thick, heavy duvet covering you. It presses down on anxious tremors, soothing the spasms of nerves. Do not be afraid. King David found this peace in Psalm 4. In peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. In peace I will lie down and sleep. That is our destination tonight. As the words of Jesus seep into your core, you will feel your heart rate slow down. A warm sensation spreads from your heart throughout your body. The Comforter is working. He is lulling you. He is whispering sure promises of a safe future. Every burden of having to fend for your own life has been lifted. You have the way. You have the companion. And you have supernatural peace. The upper room is no longer gloomy. It is filled with the light of hope. But Jesus does not stop there. He wants to take this connection to a new level, an organic, living connection where His life flows directly into your veins. He invites us to stand up, or perhaps to look out the window at the vineyard, to contemplate the most beautiful metaphor of dependence. Imagine you and the disciples are walking slowly with Jesus. Perhaps they have left the upper room, walking along the quiet streets of Jerusalem, heading toward the Kidron Valley. In the silvery moonlight of the Passover full moon, vineyards by the roadside appear with silhouettes that are slender yet full of life. The night breeze blows through the canopy of leaves, creating a soothing rustling sound, a natural soundtrack for sleep. The scent of the earth, of sap, and of young grape clusters fills the air. Jesus stops by an old vine. He touches the rough bark of the trunk, then gently caresses the tender branches. And in that quiet space, He offers the most beautiful metaphor for the relationship between us and Him. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. I am the true vine. Visualize the sturdiness of the vine trunk. It roots deep into the earth, drawing nutrients from an endless underground spring. The trunk bears the weight of the entire trellis. You, your weary soul, are not the vine. You are only a branch. What does this mean? It means you do not need to strain yourself to support life. You do not need to be the energy source. That responsibility belongs to the vine. As you lie down tonight, breathe a sigh of relief. You are allowed to be weak, allowed to let go, because the vine will hold you. You will not fall. The Lord continues with an invitation, the most important keyword for Christian meditation. Remain in me, as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. In older translations, the word remain is translated as abide. Abide in me. This is the state of absolute rest. What does a branch do to produce sweet fruit? Does it need to try hard, straining its muscles to force the fruit out? No. It only needs to do one single thing: cling tightly to the tree. It relaxes. It loosens its fibers so that the sap from the trunk automatically flows in. That sap is the life of God. Tonight, practice this exercise of abiding. Imagine your body connecting with God's source of peaceful energy. Inhale, feeling the cool healing sap flowing from the vine into your mind. Exhale, letting go of all self-effort. Insomnia often comes from our attempt to bear fruit by ourselves, solving problems ourselves, seeking happiness ourselves. Jesus says, no branch can bear fruit by itself. Stop trying, just stop. Your stopping right now is the deepest connection. King David, the musician of green pastures, also contemplated this image of the tree. In Psalm 1, he describes the blessed person as a tree. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season. Planted by streams of water. The tree does not run around looking for water. It stands still and lets the water nourish it. Sleep is the same. Do not run after sleep. Lie still. Plant yourself in God's presence, and sleep will come like cool water. But in the vineyard, there is another sound that makes us apprehensive. The sound of pruning shears. Jesus says plainly, He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit He prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful. He prunes. Many people fear this sentence, but in a therapeutic context, view it from the perspective of care. The gardener does not prune the tree because he hates it, but to make it lighter, healthier. Anxieties, toxic relationships, bad habits, negative thoughts. These are the bushy leaves draining your sap, exhausting you. Tonight, allow the benevolent gardener to cut them away. Lord, please cut off this useless worry. Please prune away the envy that is making me tired. Each of His cuts is a liberation. You will feel lighter, airier. It hurts a little, but then comes powerful restoration. And then Jesus makes a shocking statement, completely reversing the world's mindset about success. Apart from me, you can do nothing. Apart from me, you can do nothing. The world tells you, you must be able to do everything. You must strive endlessly. That creates stress. But God says, without me, you can do nothing. Does that sound negative? No. It is good news for the exhausted. It means you no longer need to play the role of God in your own life. You are allowed to admit your powerlessness. When you admit, I can't do it, that is when God begins to do it for you. Lay the burden of having to achieve at the foot of the bed. Tonight, your task is to do nothing. Just sleep and let the vine do the nourishing work. What is the result of this abiding? Not weariness, but joy. I have told you this so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. My joy. This is not the noisy joy of parties. It is the quiet joy of contentment, the serene feeling of knowing you are in the right place, nourished by the right source. Feel this complete joy creeping into your dreams. It dispels nightmares, replacing them with bright images of a lush, fruitful vineyard. Finally, Jesus calls you by a new title, a title that erases all religious distance. I no longer call you servants. Instead, I have called you friends. Friends, you are not a slave to a harsh master watching to see if you can sleep. You are his friend. He is sitting by your bedside like a soulmate, listening to your breathing. No judgment, only understanding. You are tired. Go to sleep. I am here guarding the vineyard for you. In that space, filled with the fragrance of friendship and organic connection, every cell in your body seems to relax. The sap of peace is flowing steadily from the crown of your head to your heels. You are no longer alone. You are part of a great life. You are connected. You are safe. And now, as the intimate relationship has been firmly established, as you understand you are a friend and not a servant, Jesus begins to turn his gaze to the high heavens. He prepares to perform the most sacred act, praying for you. Not just teaching you to pray, but he himself will pray for your sleep and your soul before the throne of God the Father. Let the space around you settle into the deepest stillness. We are standing at the threshold of the spiritual holy of holies. No more sermons, no more parables. Jesus stops walking. He lifts his eyes to the starry night sky of Jerusalem, where King David 1,000 years ago also looked up to seek help. But unlike David, who prayed for himself, Jesus tonight prays for you. The Bible records this opening gesture with great solemnity. After Jesus said this, he looked toward heaven and prayed. Visualize his silhouette against the night sky, steady, serene. He is assuming the role of a great high priest. In Jewish tradition, the high priest wore a breastplate engraved with the names of the 12 tribes. He carried the burdens, the pain, and the names of the people into the most holy place. Tonight, Jesus is also carrying your name on his chest. He carries your anxieties, your insomnia, and even your fragile hope to present before God the Father. His first prayer rings out, breaking the silence of the universe. Father, the hour has come. Glorify your Son, that your Son may glorify you. The hour has come. Throughout his life, Jesus always said, "My hour has not yet come." But now, facing the shadow of the cross, he does not flee. He faces it with a mindset of glory. What does this teach us about sleep? Sometimes we fear the hour of sleep because we fear facing the darkness, fear racing thoughts. But look at how Jesus embraces his hour. He turns the darkest moment into the most glorious moment through obedience. Say to yourself, the hour of sleep has come. This is not the hour of anxiety. This is the hour for my body to be glorified through rest. And then he begins to ask for protection for you. This is the most important part, to soothe your amygdala, the part of the brain that signals danger. Holy Father, protect them by the power of your name, the name you gave me, so that they may be one as we are one. Protect them by the power of your name. Imagine the name of God as a mighty fortress surrounding your bed. King David once wrote in Psalm 18, "The name of the Lord is a fortified tower. The righteous run to it and are safe." When Jesus prays, "Father, protect them," it is not a social pleasantry. it is a transfer of protective authority. He is establishing a spiritual security perimeter around your mind. No evil spirit, no nightmare, no negative energy can cross the perimeter of His name to harm you. Jesus understands that we are living in a world full of insecurity. He does not ask the Father to take us out of the world, escapism, but He asks for something more practical. My prayer is not that you take them out of the world, but that you protect them from the evil one. Protect them from the evil one. You still sleep in that room, still live in that noisy city, but you are immune to the attacks of evil, like a ship in the salty sea but dry inside. This protection is the shield that King David often mentioned in his lullaby psalms. But you, Lord, are a shield around me, my glory, the one who lifts my head high. Psalm 3. Next, the Lord prays for the purification of your mind. Sanctify them by the truth. Your word is truth. Sanctify. Your word is truth. Insomnia is often caused by our belief in lies. You are not good enough. Tomorrow will be a disaster. You will never be happy. These are viruses attacking the mind's operating system. The Lord's Prayer is like powerful antivirus software. He asks the Father to use the truth to wash away those toxic thoughts. Inhale. Receive the truth that you are loved. Exhale. Push back the lies of fear. But the most miraculous part of this prayer lies in the final verses. Jesus performs a spiritual time travel. He does not just pray for the disciples standing there, Peter, John, but he looks through 2,000 years of history to see you, the one listening to these lines right now. My prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message. I pray also for those. Let this truth shake your heart. 2,000 years ago, in the dark night in Jerusalem, before stepping onto the cross, Jesus thought of you. He mentioned you to God the Father. You are not an accident. Your name was spoken in the greatest prayer in history. How can you feel lonely or insecure, knowing that you have been wrapped in this prayer before you were even born? Jesus concludes the prayer with a burning desire, a desire of pure love. Father, I want those you have given me to be with me where I am and to see my glory. I want those to be with me. He wants you. He craves your presence. He does not see you as a burden. He sees you as a gift the Father has given him. Those you have given me. Sleep peacefully in this sweet thought. You are God's gift. You are cherished. You belong to the place of glory, not to the dark place of anxiety. King David, though he had not heard this prayer directly, felt that absolute protection through the Holy Spirit. He wrote in Psalm 121 the song for night travelers. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he who watches over Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The one who keeps you does not sleep. This is the wonderful division of labor of the universe. God stays awake so you can sleep. God prays so you can rest. God fights so you can have peace. You do not need to stay awake to watch the world anymore. The high priest is already doing that. Imagine Jesus' prayers as a blanket woven of light, slowly descending, covering your body. From your head, to your shoulders, to your back, and down to your heels. Warm, safe, impenetrable. The voices of the world have fallen silent. Only the whisper of Jesus to his Father remains, an eternal conversation about the love for you. The final tension in your eyelids has melted away. Your heart beats slower, in rhythm with the peace of heaven. You are protected. You are sanctified. You are loved. The prayer ends. A sacred silence covers everything. But this is the silence before a great storm. Jesus slowly lowers his eyes. He turns to look at the disciples. It is time to go. It is time to leave this safe room to enter another garden where darkness waits to test faith, but also where true victory begins. The great prayer has ended. The sacred echoes still vibrate in the air, but now we must move. Jesus and the disciples leave the warm upper room, stepping down the cold stone stairs into the deep night of Jerusalem. Imagine yourself walking with them. The cool night air brushes against your face, soothing the heat of the day. We pass through narrow, quiet alleys, with only the sound of footsteps echoing steadily on the stones. That rhythm of footsteps is like the rhythm of counting sheep. Steady, slow, guiding the mind gradually away from wakefulness. Our destination lies across the valley. The Bible records a geographically evocative detail. When he had finished praying, Jesus left with his disciples and crossed the Kidron Valley. Crossed the Kidron Valley. The dark stream of Kidron trickles beneath their feet. For King David, this valley was filled with sorrowful memories. 1,000 years ago, David walked barefoot through this very valley, weeping as he went, his head covered, fleeing from his rebellious son Absalom. It was a valley of fear, of tears, and of shame. But tonight, Jesus, the son of David, also crosses this stream. He is not fleeing. He is walking into the eye of the storm. What does this say to you? Lying restless in the night, perhaps you are in your own valley of the shadow, the valley of debt, of sickness, or of brokenness. You are afraid to cross it. But look, Jesus is walking ahead of you. He wades into the cold water to turn it into a path of redemption. You no longer need to fear the darkness under the bed or the darkness in your mind, for the truth is walking right through the heart of the valley. On the other side of the valley is a garden. On the other side, there was a garden, and he and his disciples went into it, the Garden of Gethsemane. In Hebrew, Gethsemane means oil press. Breathe deeply and smell the intense fragrance of the ancient olive trees. Their trunks are twisted and gnarled, bearing the marks of time. Olives must be crushed, pressed under immense pressure to release the golden, essential oil, the oil used to light lamps and anoint kings. Your life is the same. The pressures you are carrying tonight, work, family, finances, are like millstones pressing on your chest. You feel suffocated. You want to escape. But in a spiritual therapeutic context, view that pressure from a different angle. God is allowing you to be pressed to release the purest oil of character. Patience, maturity, and faith are often born in long nights of being pressed like this. Do not resist. Relax. Like a soft olive under the stone, let the process happen. Resistance only brings more pain and sleeplessness. Acceptance brings peace. In this dark garden, while the other disciples and perhaps your conscious mind have begun to grow tired and sleepy, Jesus faces the cup. Though the Gospel of John does not describe the scene of him sweating blood like the other books, John focuses on the powerful determination of the will. When Peter drew his sword to resist the arrest, Jesus stopped him and spoke the closing sentence for this act too. Shall I not drink the cup the Father has given me? The cup. It is the cup of destiny. the cup of suffering, but it is also the cup of the Father's will. He does not ask, "How can I escape this cup?" He asks, "Shall I not drink it?" This is the pinnacle of surrender. Insomnia is often the result of the war between my will, I want things my way, and reality. Things are not going my way. We lie there fighting. Why is it like this? It should be like that. Tonight, learn from Jesus. Take the cup of today, whether it tastes of the bitterness of failure or the astringency of sadness, and say, "I will drink it. I accept today as it is. I resist no more." When you accept to drink the cup of today to the dregs, you will find that the bottom is not poison, but the sweetness of God's will. King David found this comfort when he wrote in Psalm 23, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. My cup overflows." Only when you accept to pick up the cup will you see it overflowing with grace. Now, look at the disciples. They are asleep. They sleep not because they are heartless, but because the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Sorrow has made their eyes heavy. Jesus does not wake them up to scold them. In these final hours, he lets them sleep. He stays awake to watch over them. There is a strange comfort here. You are allowed to be weak. You are allowed to be tired. You do not need to stay awake to guard the world with God. He is strong enough to stay awake alone. Hear his whisper through the olive leaves. Sleep on now and take your rest. Go to sleep. I have taken care of everything. I have drunk this cup. I have crossed the valley. I have prayed for you. There is nothing left to worry about. The darkness in Gethsemane is no longer terrifying. It becomes a thick black velvet curtain, shielding you from the outside world. The ancient olive trees stand there like silent sentinels. The wind blowing through the leaves sounds like the steady breathing of the universe. Inhale peace. Exhale anxiety. Inhale surrender. Exhale resistance. However, this silence is about to be broken. Far away across the Kidron stream, the flickering lights of torches are approaching. The sound of heavy footsteps. The clashing of metal. Judas is coming with a detachment of soldiers. The crisis is about to begin. And this is most important, Jesus' mindset is now completely different. He is no longer troubled. He is no longer sorrowful. After having drunk the cup in his mind, he stands up, calm, majestic, ready. Good sleep does not come from avoiding the storm, but from preparing a ready mindset to face it. Tonight, you sleep well not because tomorrow will be easy, but because you know that God has equipped you with enough strength, sap from the vine, to face whatever happens when dawn breaks. Act 2 closes here. In the darkness of the garden, at the intersection of life and death, of human will and divine will, the internal struggle has ended. Unity has been achieved. Your mind has been cleared. Your heart has been reassured. Your will has been relaxed. You are lying still in the arms of the one who said, "I have overcome the world." Keep your relaxed lying position. We are in the Garden of Gethsemane, where ancient olive leaves have just witnessed the absolute unity between human will and divine will. Darkness still covers everything, silent and deep. But then that silence begins to be disturbed. From the other side of the valley, the light of flickering torches appears, tearing through the night. The thumping sound of footsteps, of a whole detachment, the clinking sound of metal. Judas has arrived leading the captors. Usually, when facing danger or unexpected pressures rushing in like an urgent deadline, bad news, or a midnight panic attack, our first reaction is a racing heart, tensed muscles, and a mind wanting to run away. That is the fight or flight mechanism. But tonight, observe Jesus. He is the center of peace amidst the chaotic vortex. He does not flee into the darkness. He does not cower in fear. He steps out. Visualize that poised demeanor, a supernatural calmness. He asks them, "Who is it you want?" They reply, "Jesus of Nazareth." And here is the most earth-shaking moment, the strongest sedative for your fear. "I am he." In the original Greek, he speaks only two words, ego eimi. This is not just a confirmation of identity. This is the name of the Almighty God. As that sound escapes his lips, an invisible yet incredibly powerful wave of energy explodes. When Jesus said, "I am he," they drew back and fell to the ground. They drew back and fell to the ground. Imagine this scene in your mind. Soldiers armed to the teeth, representatives of worldly power and threat, all fall flat before a man with no weapon in hand. Why is this detail important for your sleep? Because the captors tonight are the anxieties, negative thoughts, and pressures surrounding your bed. They seem numerous, aggressive, and well-equipped. They hold torches prying into your soul. But when you stand with Jesus, when you let him speak, "I am he" within your heart, all those anxieties are forced to retreat and fall down. Darkness cannot stand before light. Fear cannot stand before truth. King David, the battle-hardened warrior, experienced this feeling of siege hundreds of times. In Psalm 27, he wrote, "When the wicked advance against me to devour me, it is my enemies and my foes who will stumble and fall." David slept well not because he had no enemies, but because he knew how weak his enemies were before God. Tonight, look at your worries falling to the ground. They lose all strength. They lie there, harmless. You are standing firm in God's peace. However, beside the calmness of the Lord, we see a very human reaction from Peter. He draws his sword and strikes the ear of Malchus, the high priest's servant. Peter represents our resisting mind. When we have insomnia, we often draw the sword to fight. We are angry at the noise, angry at the uncomfortable pillow, angry at ourselves for not sleeping. We try to use personal effort, a blunt sword, to solve the problem. That action only creates more chaos and hurt. Jesus gently but firmly tells Peter, "Put your sword away. Shall I not drink the cup the Father has given me?" Put your sword away. This is the command for you tonight. Put away the resistance. Stop fighting with insomnia. Stop calculating how to solve work troubles right now. Fighting only makes your nerves more tense. Let go. Unclench your fist. Jesus even healed the servant's ear. He cleans up the consequences of anger. He fixes the mistakes our worry causes. The image of Jesus letting the soldiers bind him is a deeply moving image of surrender. He had the power to knock them down, yet he chose to let them bind his hands. Why? Because he knew that the path to true peace is not the path of violence, but the path of acceptance. When you accept being bound, meaning accepting your limits, accepting the current situation, accepting lying still, that is when you are most spiritually free. King David in Psalm 4 uttered a beautiful prayer before sleeping. "In peace, I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety." David did not need swords or spears to protect his sleep. He needed God. As Jesus walks amidst the soldiers, being led to the high priest's palace, he is not a victim. He is the shepherd walking into the lion's den to shut their mouths. Let your mind now follow his footsteps. Do not pay attention to the noisy soldiers around. Look only at his steady back. He is walking calmly, steady pace, gentle breathing. The setting gradually changes. From the desolate garden, we are led into the courtyard of a cold stone mansion. Torches cast shadows on towering walls. Here, amidst the chill of late night and the artificial warmth of a charcoal fire in the courtyard, we will face another tragedy. Not the tragedy of external arrest, but the tragedy of internal collapse. Peter, who just boldly drew his sword, is now huddled by the fire, preparing to face the greatest fear of his life, denial. But even in that humiliating failure, we will find a healing medicine for the guilt haunting your sleep. Imagine yourself standing in the courtyard of the high priest's palace. The night air in Jerusalem is biting. The cold creeps through thin layers of clothing, seeping into the very marrow of your bones. In the center of the courtyard, a charcoal fire is crackling. The orange flames dance, casting flickering shadows on the surrounding faces. Peter, the strongest disciple, is standing there, warming his frozen hands over the fire. Observe this image closely. Peter is seeking warmth from the outside to drive away the cold of the fear inside. We often do the same. When we feel insecure or lonely, we seek comfort from external things, scrolling through social media, watching movies, eating. But deep within, the trembling of the soul does not cease. Meanwhile, inside the mansion, Jesus stands alone before his interrogators. He has no fire to warm him. His hands are bound, yet he radiates a heat of truth that nothing can extinguish. When asked about his teaching, he answers calmly, "I have spoken openly to the world. I said nothing in secret. Nothing in secret." Transparency is the foundation of peace. Jesus sleeps well, even in a storm, because he has nothing to hide. Conversely, Peter is standing out there trying to hide his identity, trying to blend into the crowd. And because of that, his heart is full of storms. Tonight, if you want to sleep well, learn to live transparently with yourself and with God. Do not try to hide anxieties or weaknesses. Bring them into the light. A servant girl looks at Peter and asks, "You aren't one of this man's disciples too, are you?" Peter's answer pops out quickly, like a defensive reflex. "I am not. I am not." Remember back in the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus said, "I am," and the enemy fell. Now Peter says, "I am not," and his own character collapses. Self-denial is the deep root of many sleepless nights. We deny our true feelings. I'm fine. While I am hurting, we deny our true worth. I am not good enough. Every time we lie to our own hearts, a crack appears in the soul, leaking peace. A second time, then a third time, the question comes. The pressure increases. Fear strangles reason. Didn't I see you with him in the garden? And once again, I am not. Instantly, a sound rings out, tearing through the silent night. At that moment, a rooster began to crow. The rooster crowing. That sound is shrill, sharp, echoing off the stone walls, and echoing straight into Peter's conscience. To Peter, it is the sound of judgment, of humiliating failure. He remembers the Lord's warning, Before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. He realizes he is not as strong as he thought. He broke his promise. He is a coward. Perhaps tonight, you are also hearing your own rooster crowing. It is the voice of regret ringing out at 3 a.m. Why did I ruin that? Why did I say those hurtful words? I am terrible. Self-condemnation is the most brutal enemy of sleep. It forces you to stay awake to punish yourself. But slow down a little. Look at this story through the lens of King David, who committed sins far more terrible than Peter: adultery, murder. David was once tormented by his conscience until his bones wasted away. When I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. Psalm 32. But David found a way out. The way out is not to run from the rooster's crow, but to face it and run to God. Remember, Jesus knew beforehand that Peter would deny him. He was not surprised. He was not disappointed, because he never had illusions about human strength. And more importantly, he still chose Peter. What does this mean for you? It means God loves you even in your worst version tonight. You do not need to be a saint to be lulled to sleep by him. You can be someone who just failed, who made mistakes, who is weak. His love covers all of that. Although the Gospel of John does not describe the scene of the Lord turning to look at Peter like Luke does, his presence was always there, in Peter's mind. The rooster's crow was not just a signal of failure, but an awakening alarm. It woke Peter from the illusion of his own strength, so he could begin the journey of relying entirely on grace. Disillusionment is sometimes necessary to find the truth. Tonight, if you feel disappointed in yourself, consider it a good sign. You are being disillusioned with the proud ego to begin relying on God's strength. Peter stood there, tears in his eyes, alone in the cold courtyard. But he was not abandoned. His story does not end here. The rooster crowing signals that dawn is coming, and the dawn of restoration will come, even though the sky is still pitch black. Let's practice a small exercise to relieve this burden. Visualize all your mistakes, all the regrets of your day, being gathered into black coals. Throw them into the fire in the middle of the courtyard. Hear the sizzling sound. See the smoke rise and vanish into nothingness. The fire of forgiveness has consumed them. Jesus, the one standing trial inside, has already taken the penalty for those coals. You are free. You do not need to carry the burden of the past into your sleep anymore. Forgive yourself as God has forgiven you. Say to your soul, Peter was forgiven, David was forgiven, and I am also forgiven. Go to sleep, O my soul. The cold of the courtyard seems to soften, not because of the charcoal fire, but because the warmth of unconditional acceptance is spreading in the heart. Peter failed, but he is still the beloved. Human weakness is the perfect backdrop for God's grace to shine. Now, leave that dying fire. The night is shifting. The soldiers begin to lead Jesus to another place, a place more powerful, colder, but also where truth will have the ultimate philosophical confrontation with worldly power. We are going to the palace of Governor Pilate. Let us leave the dying embers of Caiaphas's courtyard. Dawn is beginning to break over the Jerusalem sky, but it is a gray and threatening dawn. Jesus is led to the Praetorium, the seat of the supreme power of the Roman Empire. Listen to the sounds of this scene. Outside the palace gates, the crowd is screaming, angry, full of demands. Inside the palace, a tense silence hangs in the air. Governor Pontius Pilate, the most powerful man in Judea, is pacing back and forth anxiously. Pilate is a reflection of the modern human mind. High position, busy but full of fear. He fears the crowd, fears Emperor Caesar, fears losing his seat, and fears the strange prisoner standing before him. Do you often bring Pilate's mood to bed? You worry about pleasing your boss, pleasing your family, fearing market fluctuations. You have the power to control your life, yet inside, you are full of insecurity. In contrast, look at Jesus. His hands are bound, his body bruised, but his soul is absolutely free. He is not afraid. He does not defend himself. He stands there like a steadfast lighthouse amidst Pilate's emotional storm. Pilate asks him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" He is looking at everything through the lens of politics and power. But Jesus gently adjusts that perspective to a completely different direction, the direction of the spiritual. My kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my servants would fight to prevent my arrest by the Jewish leaders. But now my kingdom is from another place. My kingdom is not of this world. Let this sentence become a soft pillow for your mind tonight. Why do we lose sleep? Because we are too attached to this world. We let the successes and failures, the numbers, the praise and criticism of the world determine our value. We think our kingdom is this job, this house. But God says, no, the true kingdom, true peace comes from another place. Say Emperor, when you realize you are a citizen of the kingdom of peace, the troubles of this world suddenly become small. They no longer hold supreme power over you. You can detach from them to enter sleep. King David, though an earthly king with full power and wealth, also realized this truth. In Psalm 39, he confessed the fleeting nature of the world. Everyone is but a breath, even those who seem secure. Surely everyone goes around like a mere phantom. In vain they rush about, heaping up wealth without knowing whose it will finally be. Everyone is but a breath. They rush about in vain. David understood that clinging to the world only brings vain weariness. Rest only comes when we anchor ourselves in the eternal kingdom. The dialogue continues into philosophical depth. Pilate asks, "You are a king then?" Jesus answers, "You say that I am a king. In fact, the reason I was born and came into the world is to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me. Testify to the truth." The purpose of Jesus' life was not to grasp for power, but to live true to the truth. And then, Pilate drops a famous question, a question containing all the skepticism, weariness, and lostness of humanity in every age. What is truth? Pilate does not wait for an answer. He turns his back and walks away. He represents minds too busy, too skeptical to stop and listen to the answer. We run everywhere looking for solutions to insomnia medication, therapy, music, but we turn our backs on the simplest truth standing right in front of us. Letting go. Jesus does not answer with words, because truth is not a concept to be debated, but a person to be encountered. His very silent presence is the answer. Tonight, do not ask, "Now why do I have insomnia? Why is my life suffering?" Do not let circular questions like Pilate's exhaust you. Look at Jesus. Be silent. His silence will answer you. Then Pilate brings Jesus out before the crowd. He has been flogged, wearing a crown of thorns and a purple robe, a battered figure. Pilate declares, "Here is the man." Look at that image. On one side is the furious crowd screaming, "Crucify, crucify." That is the noise of social pressure, the noise of demands. You must succeed. You must be rich. You must be perfect. On the other side is Jesus, standing silent, accepting the humiliation, not resisting. Why does he not resist? Because he knows who is truly in control. When Pilate threatens, "Don't you realize I have power either to free you or to crucify you?" Jesus gives an answer that realigns the cosmic order. You would have no power over me if it were not given to you from above. Given to you from above. This is the golden key to liberate you from the fear of bosses, creditors, or any force threatening you. No one has power over your life unless God allows it. Everything is under the sovereignty of God. If God allows this storm to happen, he will also provide the ability for you to overcome it. Pilate thinks he is judging Jesus, but actually, Jesus is judging Pilate's fear. Finally, Pilate surrenders to the pressure. He washes his hands, according to Matthew, but his heart is not clean. He hands Jesus over to be crucified because he wants peace for himself. But history shows Pilate never found peace after that decision. Conversely, Jesus walks out to the execution ground with the mindset of a victor. He carries his own cross. What is the therapeutic lesson here? Peace does not come from compromising with the crowd, like Pilate. Peace comes from knowing you belong to another kingdom and accepting to carry the cross of your mission, like Jesus. Tonight, when the noisy voices of the crowd in your head demand you to worry, stand with Jesus. Look straight at them and say, "My kingdom does not belong to these anxieties. I belong to peace from above." Let the stillness of Jesus seep into your mind. He does not argue. He does not panic. He simply is. Inhale that calmness and exhale all the pressure to please others. You do not need to answer the question, "What is truth?" with logic. Your heart knows the answer. Truth is where you find rest. Truth is where you are loved even when the whole world screams against you. The gates of the Praetorium close behind us. Pilate remains with his shaky throne and fitful sleep. As for us, we follow the truth out of the city. The road ahead leads up a hill shaped like a skull. It is the most painful road, but also the only road leading to complete liberation from the burdens of human life. We are standing at Golgotha, the place of the skull. The name sounds gruesome, but in this sacred moment, view it as a mountain peak where heaven and earth meet. All the noise of the crowd seems to recede, giving way to an intense focus on the three crosses silhouetted against the gloomy sky. Jesus is in the center. He is lifted up from the earth. King David, in his most sacred visions in Psalm 22, foresaw this painful scene. He wrote the words that are now being fulfilled moment by moment. "They pierce my hands and my feet. All my bones are on display. People stare and gloat over me." But the connection between David and Jesus does not stop at pain. It is a connection of isolation. Perhaps you feel that isolation tonight. When everyone is fast asleep, only you are awake with your pain. You feel abandoned. But look up at the cross. Jesus is there in ultimate loneliness, so that you never have to be lonely again. He bore that isolation to turn your bedroom into a place of God's presence. Observe a small but meaningful detail that the Gospel of John records. The soldiers divided his clothes, but for the seamless tunic, they decided not to tear it, but to cast lots for it. Let's not tear it. They said to one another, "Why does this detail comfort you?" The seamless tunic symbolizes wholeness. Even when his body was broken, even when his life seemed torn apart by hatred, the integrity of his ministry and love remained intact. Your life, though it may seem tattered by worries, failures, or sickness, still has a seamless tunic covering your soul. Your wholeness in God's eyes is never torn. Amidst excruciating pain, Jesus did not focus on himself. He looked down at the foot of the cross. He saw his mother and the disciple he loved. His care rose above the pain. He said to his mother, "Woman, here is your son," and to the disciple, "Here is your mother." He rearranged the order of love. He ensured that his loved ones would be cared for when he was gone. This is medicine for those who are losing sleep, worrying about family, children, or aging parents. Who will take care of them if something happens to me? Look at Jesus. Even in the hour of death, he provided for his loved ones. How much more so now that he is alive and reigning? Hand the burden of your family over to him. He will say, "This is my child. I will take care of them. This is your mother. I will keep her." And then a physical need arose. Later, knowing that everything had now been finished, and so that Scripture would be fulfilled, Jesus said, "I am thirsty. I am thirsty." A short, naked confession. The one who created rivers, the one who is the source of living water, is now thirsty. He validated human physical pain. He did not pretend to be strong. If tonight you are in pain, tired, thirsty for peace, do not be afraid to admit it. God understands that thirst. He tasted the parched thirst of death so that you might drink the cool water of life. They lifted a sponge soaked in vinegar to his mouth. After receiving it, Jesus knew that the great moment had arrived. Every prophecy from ancient times, every burden of human sin, every suffering of human life, all had been resolved. He did not breathe his last in exhaustion or defeat. He uttered a cry of victory, a declaration that shook both hell and heaven. It is finished. In Greek, tetelestai. This is a word used in ancient commerce, meaning paid in full. When a debt was fully paid, this word was written on the bill. When a soldier completed a mission, they reported this word. It is finished. Let these 3 words sink deep into your subconscious tonight. The mistakes you made today, it is finished. Do not torment yourself anymore. The unfinished work causing you anxiety, spiritually entrust it to God and consider it. It is finished for today. Tomorrow will be a new day. The burden of the past, it is finished. The fear of death, it is finished. You do not need to add anything to God's salvation. You do not need to try to supplement your peace. Everything is complete. Good sleep is the state of believing. I owe nothing more to today. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, whisper, tetelestai, a feeling of lightness. All chains of the pressure to do, to achieve, fall at the foot of the cross. Jesus' final action is a beautiful model for entering sleep. With that, he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. Bowed his head. That is the posture of rest. He did not strain his neck to resist death. He gently bowed his head, like someone sinking into sleep after a day of hard work. Gave up his spirit. He actively entrusted his spirit into the Father's hands. King David also practiced this in Psalm 31. Into your hands I commit my spirit. Tonight, follow this movement. Let your head sink deep into the pillow below your head. Relax your entire body from forehead, eyes, jaw, shoulders, arms, legs, as if you are giving the weight of your body to the bed, representing God's hand. Give up your spirit. Absolute surrender. Holding back no control. Father, I am done. I entrust my spirit to you. A silence covers the space, a silence very different from the noise before. This is the silence of the Sabbath. Because the work of recreating the world is finished, God rests. The storm has passed. The wind has stopped blowing. The blood has stopped flowing. The pain has ceased. There remains only a deep, profound peace like the ocean. The death of Jesus is not a tragic mourning in the sense of despair, but a great sleep preparing for a glorious awakening. Your mind is now also dying to the worries of the world, to sink into holy rest. You are at the safest point in the universe, under the shadow of the cross, where every debt has been canceled. No one can demand anything from you anymore. No one can accuse you anymore. You are free, completely free to sleep. Now they will lower his body. Gently, with respect, they will wrap him in clean linen cloths and fragrant spices, myrrh and aloes. The scent of burial is also the scent of a healing balm. We will follow them to another garden, where there is a new tomb in which no one has ever been laid. There, in the cool darkness of the rock cave, the seed of life will be sown into the earth, waiting for the explosive moment of resurrection. Breathe in deeply the scent of damp earth after the rain. Every storm has passed. It is not yet fully light. A thin mist veils the garden tomb. The space is quiet, yet this is no longer the silence of death, but the silence of awaiting a miracle. In the dim twilight of that early morning, Mary Magdalene approaches the tomb. Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb. While it was still dark. This detail truly touches the hearts of the sleepless. Sometimes we seek God, we seek peace, even when our lives are still dark. We need not wait until everything is bright and radiant to begin hoping. Hope begins right in the darkness. Mary came to visit a corpse, but she found the stone rolled away. Panic sets in. She runs to report the news. They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we don't know where they have put him. We don't know. Uncertainty once again unsettles the mind. But look inside the tomb. Peter and John run there and witness a strange sight. He saw the strips of linen lying there, as well as the cloth that had been wrapped around Jesus' head. The cloth was still lying in its place, separate from the linen strips lying there. The headcloth wrapped neatly, set apart in its own place. If this were a grave robbery, the thief would never take the time to unwrap the grave clothes and fold the cloth so neatly. This detail of orderliness bears a profound therapeutic message. Jesus has awakened, and he departed in peace, in order without haste. Even in the cosmic event of the resurrection, the Lord maintains his calm. When your mind is chaotic, remember the folded cloth in the empty tomb. God is reordering your life, even when you do not see him. The two disciples return home, but Mary stands outside the tomb, weeping. This is the image of lingering grief. There are pains that cannot vanish instantly. Jesus appears, but Mary does not recognize him. She mistakes him for the gardener. She asks through her tears, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have put him." And then the moment that changes all human history and changes your sleep tonight is encapsulated in a single word. Jesus offers no theological explanation. He simply calls her name, Mary. a familiar sound, a tone full of love, a perfect understanding. With just one calling of her name, the veil falls from her eyes. Rabboni King David once longed to hear God call like that. In Psalm 30, he wrote of this miraculous transition, "Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning." Tonight, listen within your soul. Amidst the noise of worry, there is a very quiet, very gentle voice calling your name. God knows your name. He knows your pain. He is not an invisible ghost. He is the living one standing right beside you, perhaps in the guise of a gardener, tending the garden of your soul. When he calls your name, the fear of death and loss dissolves. For the one who holds life is here. You are safe. But the resurrection story is not only for the emotional, like Mary. It is also for the rational, the skeptical, those with analytical minds, those like Thomas. Perhaps you are sleepless because you cannot stop overthinking. You need evidence. You need certainty. Thomas declared, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands, and put my finger where the nails were, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." He wanted to touch. He wanted verification. A week later, when the doors were locked again, the image of a safe room Jesus came. He did not rebuke Thomas's doubt. He went straight to his need. "Peace be with you. Peace be with you." This is the greeting of the risen one. Shalom. Not "why do you doubt?" but "peace be with you." God knows that doubt often stems from insecurity. He told Thomas, "Put your finger here. See my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. Stop doubting and believe." God allowed Thomas to touch his wounds. This is the pinnacle of healing. The Lord's wounds are a shelter for our doubts. When you worry, visualize yourself touching the wounds in his hands. That is the proof that he has borne every pain for you. That is the proof of practical love, not empty theory. Thomas collapsed completely before that love. "My Lord and my God." And the next sentence the Lord spoke is specifically for you, the one listening to this script, the one who does not see God with physical eyes, but is feeling him with the heart. "Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." Blessed are those who have not seen. You are blessed. You are lying there, eyes closed, seeing nothing. But you believe. You believe in this peace. You believe in this invisible presence. And because of that, the blessing of rest pours out upon you. King David in Psalm 16 prophesied this resurrection with supreme joy. "Therefore my heart is glad and my tongue rejoices. My body also will rest secure, because you will not abandon me to the realm of the dead." My body also will rest secure. That is our destination. Because the Lord lives, because he has conquered death, your body has the right to rest securely. No fear can drag you down into the abyss any longer. He did not abandon you to the realm of the dead, and he will not abandon you in this dark night. Feel the fresh air of the resurrection morning filling your lungs. Every inhale is new life. Every exhale is a release of yesterday's remnants. The darkness has passed. The true light has come. The tomb is empty, which means the anxieties buried in your heart have also been cleared away. The resolution is complete. Your mind has no more reason to struggle. The evidence is clear. Love has won. Doubt has been resolved. Now you need only enjoy the fruit of that victory. That is peace. But Jesus wants to give you one final gift. A gift not of earth-shattering events, but of the ordinary, warm, and forever nourishing. He meets you at the familiar shores of Galilee, where it all began, to share breakfast and restore what was lost. Let your mind drift gently like a small boat on the water. We leave behind the noisy, dusty Jerusalem to return to the peaceful countryside of Galilee. This is where it all began and where everything is made new. The setting is dawn. The sky shifts from deep purple to soft pink. The Sea of Galilee is as flat as a sheet, save for the sound of waves lapping against the boat. Lapping, lapping. The disciples, Peter, Thomas, Nathanael, have returned to their old trade, fishing. They have endured psychologically shattering events. When humans are tired and bewildered, they often return to old habits, to familiar deeds to find a sense of safety. Perhaps you are the same. You turn to repetitive habits to soothe your anxiety. But that night, they caught nothing. That night, they caught nothing. Emptiness. Once again, the failure of human effort. You try to work hard. You try to earn money. You try to seek happiness, but sometimes your net comes up empty. But do not despair. The emptiness of the night is often the preparation for the fullness of the morning. Just as sunlight breaks through, there is a man standing on the shore. The morning mist is still thick. They do not recognize that it is Jesus. His voice echoes across the water, affectionate and caring. Friends, haven't you any fish? Friends, or children in some translations. He calls them with tenderness. He cares about their most practical need, food. God cares not only for your soul. He cares about whether you are tired, whether you are hungry, whether you can sleep. They answer curtly, no, an admission of failure once again. He tells them, throw your net on the right side of the boat and you will find some. They obey. And the net teems with fish. 153 large fish. The lesson here is gentle. Peace and success do not come from trying harder, working all night, but from doing it in the right direction, following His word. Tonight, let go of your own striving. Cast the net of your mind toward the side of trust. Let God fill your net with good sleep. The disciple whom Jesus loved is the first to recognize Him. The intuition of love is always sharper than reason. He exclaims, "It is the Lord." Hearing this, Peter, the man of action, cannot wait. He throws on his outer garment and plunges into the sea, swimming toward the shore. He wants to meet the Lord. He wants to connect. Let your soul also swim toward God like that tonight. Leave behind the boat of worries. Leave behind the catch of success or failure. Just swim toward the shore of peace. When they land, they see the warmest sight in the entire Bible. When they landed, they saw a fire of burning coals there with fish on it and some bread. Glowing coals, grilled fish, bread. Jesus has prepared breakfast for them. Recall that Peter denied the Lord beside a cold charcoal fire in the courtyard of Caiaphas. The memory of a fire is a memory of trauma, but now Jesus creates a new charcoal fire, a fire of care, a fire of forgiveness. He is performing a psychological therapy called memory reconsolidation. He replaces the painful memory with a loving one. If tonight you are haunted by sad memories of the past, let Jesus invite you to sit down by this glowing fire. Let His warmth heal the old scars. His invitation is simple. Come and have breakfast. There is no reproach. Why did you leave me? Why did you doubt? There is only service. He takes bread and gives it to them, and does the same with the fish. Imagine you are sitting on the fine sand, listening to the waves, feeling the warmth of the fire and receiving a piece of peaceful bread from the Lord's hand. You are nourished. You are cared for. After the meal, when their minds and bodies are satisfied, Jesus turns to Peter. It is time to resolve the heart's wound once and for all. 3 times Peter denied the Lord. Now 3 times Jesus asks Peter a single question. Simon, son of John, do you love me? He does not ask, do you regret it? Do you promise to do better? He asks only about love, because love was the source of all restoration. Peter, with deep humility, answers, Yes, Lord, you know that I love you. And after each affirmation, the Lord gives him a new mission. Feed my sheep. Why is this important for our sleep? King David is famous for Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. Now Jesus, the great shepherd, delegates that shepherding to Peter and to us. The meaning here is trust and continuity. You have been forgiven. You have been restored. You have value. Your life has a purpose. The feeling of uselessness often leads to depression and insomnia. But the Lord says, You are useful to me. Care for my sheep. This reaffirmation of self-worth helps you sleep well with restored self-esteem. Finally, Peter asks about John's future. Jesus gently reminds him not to compare. If I want him to remain alive until I return, what is that to you? You must follow me. The final lesson. Before sleep, stop comparing. Do not look at others' lives, why they sleep well, why they are wealthy, why they are lucky. Everyone has a unique path with God. Your job is only, follow me. Follow me into rest. Follow me into beautiful dreams. The story ends with a poetic open conclusion by the author John. Jesus did many other things as well. If every one of them were written down, I suppose that even the whole world would not have room for the books that would be written. The whole world could not contain the books written about him. This means the story of Jesus is not over. It is still being written in your life. Every night you sleep well is a miracle. Every morning you wake up is a resurrection. Every time you overcome anxiety is a victory. You are a chapter in the infinite book of His love. And now, the breakfast by the sea is finished. The disciples have found peace by the glowing charcoal fire. Peter has been healed. The Sea of Galilee reflects the gentle light of the sky. Look, King David is also there, laying down his harp and resting by the still waters. All is fulfilled. It is finished. God's work is complete. His protection is established. Your future is secured. Let the final image remaining in your mind be the loving gaze of Jesus looking at you. A gaze that says, You are my beloved. Peace be with you. Your body is now heavy with relaxation. Your eyelids are sealed tight, breath deep and even. You're drifting into sleep in the arms of the Good Shepherd. No more fear. No more anxiety. Only peace remains. Peace. Peace. Amen.